summertime or late spring at this point when it's still light out. It's like I'm still supposed to be outside working. It's like crap. I got to get inside. So, all right, let's see if you guys can see me and hear me, and we'll get the show on the road here. Oops, and I forgot that. There we go. We'll get that part. All right. Finley says 5x5, healthy disrespect, farm ranch homestead, Jacob, old crow, a couple more, Krista, Comet Moon. Okay, good deal. You guys can hear me. Happy Tuesday, guys. If we can say that, after the illustrious potato in chief said, yeah, you know what? I need 4 more years. It's taking me too long to screw up the whole country and destroy the American way. So please give me another 4 so I can finish what I started. Yeah, the joys. Of course, we hear all the other fun stuff today. The DNC, of course, is not going to have any debates in the primary because God knows Joe can't debate. Okay. Ice cream? Yeah. Somebody want to change my diapers and give me some ice cream. That I'll debate. But in the other one, I guess he blocked today shipping natural gas from Pennsylvania to Jersey. Remember about 10 years ago where the eco warriors were out there going, natural gas is the future. It's a clean burning. Now they're like, oh my God, we can't use natural gas. Be like global warming, global cooling. Oh, we can't get it wrong. 5 years from now, everybody's going to, you're going to hear them go, we can't do solar. You're sucking the energy out of the sun. That'll be what's next, We're going to have to run on cow farts. Now cow farts are good. That'll be next. So, and of course, you still have all the big news today. The topic on everybody's mind is Tucker still, AOC taking her victory lap. Chuck Schumer, I got him fired. It's we need to deplatform people. It's like, shut up. Your job is hanging on a thread, and deplatforming you is pretty easy too. So, but yeah, it was just all I can say is the Democrats want to hand Joe the nomination, which is really interesting because 70%. I mean, get that, guys. 7 out of 10 people do not want Joe to run, okay? But the DNC is like, yeah, he's going to be our candidate, and we're not going to let anybody else even try, okay? The funnier story today I caught, get this, 33% of Democrats have said, one out of 3, have said if Joe's the nominee, they're going to vote for third party. Now, that's a good thing because I think it was even like 25% of Republicans said that if Trump's the nominee, they're going to vote third party. Whether or not they do, we'll see. But wouldn't it be nice if we had more than 2 political parties? That we had 3 or 4 different choices. That we actually, and let's just take it out here. We can go this way. You can have a communist party, Bernie Sanders and AOC, okay, Joe Biden. You could have a Democrat party, which would be, say, a Joe Manchin, RFK, some of those guys, okay. You could have a Libertarian party, which would be, like a Rand Paul. You could have the MAGA party, which would be obviously Trump. You could have a conservative party, which I don't know, maybe would be, pick somebody there, let's say a Ted Cruz, okay? We'll see how, throwing somebody, at least as an idea. But yeah, what if we had 4 or 5 parties and each one of them got a legitimate amount of votes? Then we might actually have a real election, where votes would actually matter. Because at that point, you can't, you probably could figure it out somehow, God knows they'd figure it out. But, you have 5 parties and nobody's going to come up and go, maybe very rarely, gee, I got 51% of the vote. No, you know, figure something like that. Run, however it would work, but change it out. Just an idea, but this two party crap ain't working because it's now the two parties have become one party. They're too much more concerned about who's having steak dinner with who, and less about what's going on with the American people. So I don't know, but I just found it really interesting that a third of Democrats said that they're not going to vote for Joe Biden. Okay. That may hurt. So, all right. So that was just a quickie tonight. I was out working today. Mrs. P and I were planting juniper bushes. We're prettying up the property, but also a little bit on the security side. More blocking area. Of course, in the process of doing that, I broke my tiller. Not bad. The cord came out and the cord ripped off, so I've got to take the damn thing apart and re-spool the cord. Uh, but that was it. But it was a nice, cool day today. In the 50s in the morning, low 60s in the afternoon. So it was nice to work outside and not be dripping in sweat. More than not from humidity, just from working hard. So that was all right. But so so then let's get in and do this and chill for a little bit. So always good to see you guys and have some fun doing this. So, all right, let's get into some Q&A. I will remind those of you who are new here, or not remind those of you who are old here of the rules, and for those of you that are new, welcome, and kind of tell you how we do things right here. Tuesdays and Saturdays are Q&A for you guys, chance for you guys to pick the topics that we talk about, ask questions of me. When you ask a question to me, guys, please put it in all caps. Makes it easier for me to see the questions. I can scroll through the chat a lot quicker. There's 1,000 of you guys in here. There's one of me. But feel free to have conversations amongst yourselves. I don't have all the answers, guys. I've never professed to. I'm just another Joe Average like you guys here. Just I happen to be the one in front of the camera. So if I don't have the answer, watch the chat because inevitably somebody in here will. Okay. Feel free to have conversations amongst yourselves. I encourage that all the time. We're here for fellowship, camaraderie, anything like that. The only thing I do require, and the moderators are very good about it, is keep it friendly, PG-13. Okay. If you want to be rude, if you want to be an ass, go somewhere else. Okay. This ain't the place for it. We're here to help each other. We're all in this mess together, even though we could be thousands of miles apart. An idea you have is a idea maybe I haven't heard of before, and there's a lot of things that you guys have mentioned in chat and questions and stuff like that I've implemented in my preps. So I learn just as much from listening to you guys as you guys do from listening to me. So that's what makes this fun. All right. So let's get into the Q&A. Let me get scrolled up to the top here, and if I can get the computer to do what I want it to do, and we'll get into it. All right, let's see. Just trying to find the top here. Okay, that's a bunch of hellos, 5x5, so we're in the right spot. Healthy disrespect for authority. Do I think the potato will keep heels up on the ticket? Yep, they announced that this morning. They announced together in a video because God knows Joe couldn't do it on his own. They wouldn't put him in front of a speech. They need to make sure they have edited that. But yeah, she's on the ticket, so we get Dumb and Dumber running for president. So, let's see. KRFJR. So did Tucker get fired or did he quit? Hearing it both ways. We have not heard yet. Okay. Tucker has not come out and said his side of the story yet. Fox is saying it's amicable. The evidence, as I see it, says he was fired. Okay. And we've seen a lot that it was the Murdochs, it was Murdochs, it was the CEO, whatever would be. I mean, that he's got fired. The reason I am leaning toward he got fired is Tucker closed his show on Friday with "See you on Monday." Okay, if he knew he was leaving, or if he knew on Friday he was leaving, he would have said something. Okay, now unless he had an epiphany over the weekend and said, you know what, screw him. But the other thing is, we do know that he was in negotiations to uh, extend his contract, I think, through 2027 or 2029 or something. So there could have been, contract deals over the weekend. We don't know yet. We'll wait for, we've heard Fox's side, which is the standard boilerplate. It was amicable. We'll wait for Tucker to come out and say what really happened. So, it's just funny. What I do love is seeing just the boatload of people that are dumping uh, their subscriptions to Fox Nation and everything like that. And, it's like, gee, Fox, you didn't learn from Bud Light that you do something stupid and the people will get you for it. So the thing is, I still look at it as it's going to, the witches on the View singing "Nana Hey Hey Goodbye." They have no idea. They can't think past here. It's like, you do realize that they've just taken the muzzle off of Tucker, and wherever he winds up, he's going to, in his contract, is I have carte blanche to say whatever I want. Nobody does anything, whether it's with Glenn Beck or Alex Jones, or I guess OANN offered him 25 million today or whatever. He's going to be like, I produce my show, I edit my show, I make all the decisions, and nobody says anything, and that's in my contract. That's, and then he's going to let loose. So wherever he winds up, the very first show he has ought to be a barn burner. Judy Booher, let's do the Patriot Party. There you go. That's a good way to name it. Janae K, Libertarian, Ron Paul. I mean, and that's it. And I get it. I mean, I don't know where I even fit in. I mean, I'd say I'm a constitutionalist, but a lot of you guys have told me that I'm a libertarian. I'd say I'm a conservative, but there's bits and pieces, and some of the things that I believe doesn't fall into the regular cookie cutter libertarian or MAGA or whatever. I'm not a, they say it, I agree with it. I have the ability to use this. Some things that the party stands for, I don't agree with. It's me. We need to get rid of parties and vote for the actual person. Yeah, yeah, but the thing is this: a campaign cannot be run by one person. Okay, they need the the boots on the ground. They need the people who know how to get out the vote, to do everything like that. I mean, and that's where parties come into. I mean, you're not going to find a candidate who's going to be able to say, you know what, I'm bringing in all my own people because we've done this before. You still have to work with some experience there. Happy trails. You make a good point. I was thinking the same thing. Since the DNC will not debate, I think Kennedy should run as an independent. I wonder if he might. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have the money to. Okay, he's got the money to do it, and whether or not he has again, same thing, the infrastructure, the team to put it together. But this, and I was alluding to this the other day. What worries me, and I've seen comments that people have made too, that all politicians should be a volunteer job. Nobody should get paid. And I understand the logic of it. Here's the problem. Then we are always ruled by the rich. You never get the bartender, okay? I mean, even though she's an idiot, you never get the Joe Average in Congress or in the White House or whatever, because they really can't, unless they're wealthy and can support themselves for 2 years or 4 years or whatever it would be, or 6 years, depending on what office they win. There's, somehow they've got to be compensated. What we need to do is clean up this PAC money and all this sort of stuff. I mean, listen, there was something today. AOC's been in Congress now for 5 years. She went in. Remember when she was screaming she couldn't afford an apartment? And I guess now her net worth is $29 million. Please tell me how somebody who makes $155,000 a year in 6 years and 5 years is now worth $29 million. You know, don't tell me she has such a great Twitter following because her Instagram following that she's making money hand over fist, on Instagram videos. Who knows? Jay Hunter, pinball for president. There is no way in the world I'd ever want that job. Mark Eversberg, Mark Levin for the Conservative Party. It wouldn't surprise me if you see him gone from Fox within the next few weeks. The thing is, Levin's not the lightning rod that a Tucker, a Hannity, or anything like that is. Not, Hannity's a bootlicker, but that's beside the point. But Levin is a extremely intelligent man, and he knows his stuff. It's just he doesn't have that following that I bet if you asked half the people in Congress, Democrats, they don't even know who Mark Levin is. So, Disney app boiler up. I started my yellow squash too early. They're already getting flowers and are at 5 to 6 inches tall. Should I pinch the flowers off or just start over? Yes, absolutely pinch the flowers off. That's why they're not getting any taller. They are trying to focus their energy in making squash, and they're too small to do it. Pinch all the flowers off and get them. They'll start growing again. So, Agnes Young, a lot can happen in 18 months. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and I bring this up to 2016. Remember, about 2 years out, 18 months out, or the talk was that Ben Carson was going to be the nominee. Okay, and then Trump came down the golden escalator and blew everybody's socks off. And I will never forget Ann Coulter on Good Morning America when George Stephanopoulos said, "Who do you think's going to win the Republican nomination?" And she goes, "Right now, Donald Trump." And they all laughed at her, And then I loved seeing the tears when Hillary lost. Sunset, government is the answer. No, government is the problem. They are certainly not the solution. I cannot wrap my head around anybody who thinks that the way to solve the problems is to make government bigger. I mean, I can't wrap my head around it because there's no logic in it. Okay. What? You don't have enough money, so you want other people to pay for you. But then you have enough money, so then you have to start paying the taxes. It's like everybody, it's the old NIMBY principle, not in my backyard. Oh, I'll never be the one that has to pay taxes, so just keep giving it to me until you are the one. That's why I say all the time about, kids. If you're a Republican before age 30, you don't have a heart. If you're a Democrat after age 30, you don't have a brain. Okay. I mean, that's it. When you're young, you've got all these wild ideas how the world will be a beautiful place, and then you get out in the working workforce, and you realize how much money is taken out of your paycheck for taxes, and you realize how much your insurance costs, and you realize that, what your house costs, your food costs, your bills cost, and you go, holy crap, how do I get out of this? Well, the first thing to do, maybe if my taxes were less. And you go, welcome to the Republican Party, smaller government. But RK, what is my impression of RFK? Oh, I'm not a fan. Don't get me wrong. Okay. RFK is, I like the fact that he's against this. Okay. But other than that, he's a eco warrior. He is against the Second Amendment. So other than that, he's a left of center Democrat. Okay, that's about it. More of a moderate Democrat. Uh, Most of what he believes, I disagree with. So no, I mean, there ain't. If it was between Biden and RFK, I'd be writing in Mickey Mouse. So I'd be writing in Donald Trump. I can write in whoever the hell I want. So no, not a fan. I would like to see him debate Biden for the simple reason is I think the public needs to see what an idiot Joe is when he's not reading off the teleprompter. You know, and I mean, again, no fan of RFK by any means, but you know, if he does anything good, he's going to expose Biden for the criminal fraud that he is. Okie Ranch wife, yes, but more than two parties will not win a majority in the Electoral College, which is probably true. Okay. So then maybe what you have at that point is a runoff election. And I know this now starts hearing like this weighted election crap we get out in California and stuff like that. But that's how a lot of European countries do it. They've got 16 political parties and the top two run against each other, and that's maybe that's the way it needs to be. And it could turn out that if we had RFK and Biden and Vivek Ramaswamy and Donald Trump and the astrology party, Marianne Williamson, it may still win if we have that election and it turns out it's Biden against Trump again anyway. But at least it's it's always possible. I mean, remember, you go back to 92 when Ross Perot running. I mean, I voted for Ross Perot. It was the only time I have not voted for the Republican candidate. Yes, I know. Crucify me for voting for John McCain or for voting for Mitt Romney, but look who he was running against. But the only way, I mean, we can always have more than one party. It's just they never get any traction. That's the thing. And, you thought after Ross Perot did get some traction, thought, hey, maybe we're going to have a third party. We've never had a serious third party candidate since. Joe for president of the nursing home. No, Joe for president of the cemetery. Silver Possum, how do you wire money for bullion buy? Okay, I'm gonna really have to guess what you're asking here because that's very, very vague. But the ones I use, whether it's SD Bullion or JM Bullion or BGASC, you do what's called an e-check and just your routing number and account number, and basically they'll direct debit it from your account just like your electric bill does, and then once they get the funds, then they'll mail it to you. That's easy. Doing a bank wire or something, why pay for it? Okay, the e-check is free. So I keep saying to people, don't buy in crypto. First off, I hope you don't have crypto, but don't buy your gold and silver in crypto. Don't buy your gold and silver on a credit card. Buy it in cash or not off your debit card, because they'll charge you the credit card fees. Do it as an e-check and there's no fees. You don't pay for shipping. If it doesn't show up for 2 weeks, who cares? Your price was locked in. It'll get to you. Okay. I've never had a problem with any of those sending me what I ordered. Okay. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks. I got it. Right. No big deal. I know it's coming, but don't get nickel and dimed to yourself. I mean, like I said, Gainesville Coins always seems to have the lowest prices on silver because they charge less in premiums. But they make it up in shipping. And when you look at it, okay, I want to buy 20 ounces of silver. Okay, there's $500 worth of silver, and they're going to charge you, $16 or $18 or whatever to ship it. That's another dollar a coin. And you go, okay. After I paid the premium, I'm paying more than the other company is with a higher premium, but free shipping. So you got to weigh it all out. You're trying to keep your cost as low as possible. but e-check is the only way to do it. Why do we have parties? I talked about that at the top, just because you need experience to run a campaign. Trilobe, can you add too much calcium to your plants? Okay. No, but because when you're adding, you got to remember, when you put crushed eggshells in the ground, okay, the plant's not going, hey, cool, look, an eggshell, let's start munching on it. The calcium needs to separate from the eggshell. All right, that's it. So it needs to be in some sort of form that the plant can take up whatever nutrient. If it is a organic nutrient, again, calcium from eggshells or something like that, the plant really can't. It's like if you put too much coffee grounds in your garden, you're not going to burn it. You put too much chemical nitrogen fertilizer in it, you're going to burn your plants, okay? Because the organic stuff has to be processed by the worms, the microbes, everything like that that's in the ground to turn it into something that the plants can take up. The chemical stuff, the plants can suck it all up immediately, basically. Okay, liquid at least. I mean, the granules, okay, it feeds for 8 weeks or whatever. But yeah, you can burn your plants with the chemicals. So chemical calcium, yes, that you can do too much. Organic calcium, no. Flint McRock, Pinball, do I use gypsum in my gardens? No. Okay, and here's why. All right, what gypsum is really good for is for breaking up clay. Where I did use gypsum was when I was working on the backyard and spread it along with nitrogen fertilizer all over the compost that I spread all over the backyard so I can grow grass, because I put, half-inch of compost over the entire backyard. So I had something to grow the grass in, because I got to break up the clay underneath. That's why I put the gypsum in. The other thing I use gypsum for is in my pond, because gypsum is a good clarifier if you've got clay in the soil. If you get, I've told you guys, you've seen how I get the water in. It runs down the hill, and I mean, it's brown from clay, from all the runoff and everything like that. If it goes in the water, I put powdered gypsum out there, and the gypsum binds to the clay particles, and they sink, and it clears the water up in the pond. So I don't need it in my garden, because my garden is basically soft soil. I mean, it's now 4 years of compost and manure and grass clippings and leaves and straw and all organic material and topsoil. But I don't have to worry about the clay, so I don't need to break it up. Brandy, thank you for the super chat. Let's see what you got to say here. Thank you for your time. What do you think about the scare from the WHO about the Sudan biolab broken into? I saw that this morning, and I was thinking about talking about it, making a video on it. I just couldn't find enough information on it. It's like, there's now a ceasefire going on that Anthony Blinken said he was part of, but the Saudis were the ones running it. So I don't know enough about the two fighting sides as to, I don't, is it like a Hezbollah or an Al Qaeda or something like that? I don't know. Obviously one's fighting the government. Okay, whether the government's good or bad, I don't know enough about Sudan, so I don't know who, good guys or bad guys, if you want to use that, has control of these vials, if you will, with polio and stuff like that in them. It's worth paying attention to, and I certainly will do so, but I need a lot more information that's very hard to find right now before I'm comfortable talking about it. It's okay. You guys know me. I'm not going to try to bullshit my way through a story, unless I can tell you this group is, aligned with the Taliban and they have it, and this is what they're threatening to do with it. I don't know yet. Is it something I'm watching, and there's a little bit of worry in there, because on the other hand, those of us in the States, we shouldn't really be worried about it because pretty much all of us have been vaccinated for polio when we were kids. So, uh, Kathleen Maddox, Pinball, what are good direct sow summer plants for East Tennessee? Uh, okay. Your beans, most certainly. This year I'm not growing pole bean. I'm not growing green beans of any kind because I've still got so many from last year. I had bumper crop harvest last year. So this year I'm growing lima beans and black beans. Those will be direct sown in, I think maybe about a month yet. You could direct sow your cucumbers or pickling cucumbers or whatever you have. I prefer to do them as seed starts. When I seed start my cukes, though, I don't do them in the cells. I go straight for the solo cup and do them there because cucumbers grow quick. Uh, you know, I put it this way: start it in a solo cup. Within about 3 weeks, when you put the seed in the soil, you're ready to plant that thing, and you've got a good sized plant. Uh, Squash is a good one. Zucchini or anything like that is good to direct sow. Uh, you probably, I don't know, with the weather we've got right now, you could probably still get away putting your beets, your parsnips, your carrots, any of your root vegetables. Those are direct sow, but now, uh, yeah, that should give you a good list right there. Uh, Whoops, shot to the bottom. Farm Ranch Homestead, Mark Levin is on Talk Radio and Blaze Network. Yeah, it's just that he's not a big player on Fox. So, if they got rid of him on Fox on his Saturday night or Sunday night show or whatever he is, I don't know, I don't have TV. Uh, it's not like he's out of a job. So, anyway, he's not tied to Fox. Linda Friesen, what type of soil do grapes thrive in? Grapes are pretty much, I don't care. Okay. I remember being out in Vegas and a neighbor a couple of houses away had massive grapevines, running up there. I mean, Vegas, you have cinder block fences basically in between the yards. They had massive grapevines. I mean, they'd run them up the fence, over the arbors, and everything like that. I mean, in Vegas, you're basically planting in sand. Okay? Out here, we've got red clay. Okay, and I've got grapes growing just in the ground. I was up at Mountaintop Prep's house a couple of days ago, and they've got their grapevines. I think they're about a year ahead of me or whatever it is. And they've already got grapes coming up, and that's on clay. So you're pretty much good in about any soil that you're going to get for grapes. Prep Rebel, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for all you do. It's not much, but add it to the Christmas fund, your fish pond fund. Well, it'll go to the Christmas fund. The fish pond fund, fish ain't gonna cost me that much. I'm getting like 100 bluegill and a couple of pounds of fathead minnow, so it's gonna be maybe $100 to get my fish, which is a week from tomorrow. So we'll do that. But thank you for the super chat. We'll throw that in the Christmas party fund here. So. Still trying to figure out some ideas. Might have to get with Joel for some good ideas because he's doing the trivia all the time. RLH, hey Pinball, Tucker should have an 8 p.m. show Monday through Friday. That'd be a great idea. I wonder if anybody will watch in that time slot. Yeah, well, Acushnet, Bill O'Reilly got the X. Yeah, I talked about him either in yesterday's video or today. But I mean, yeah, you start looking through, it's, Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck and Eric Bowling and Kimberly Guilfoyle and Megan Kelly and Greta Van Susteren, not that she was any big deal. Shepard Smith was the token liberal. Fox has a tendency to get rid of their anchors at a relatively brisk pace, and you wonder if some of it is the anchor's getting a little too big for their britches. It's like, what, I think I deserve $25 million. Well, that's what we pay Tucker. Well, I'm as good as Tucker. Yeah, but he brings in 10 times the people you do. I still think, bye. I think there's a bit of that too. So, Jodes Rames, will the Ten Commandments law in Texas schools survive the inevitable court challenges? Probably not. Okay. At least because you got to remember, we got separation of church and state. And so any public school is technically state. So, yes, that is the chances are the Ten Commandments law that was passed, what was it, yesterday, will not stand up to in the Supreme Court. Now, again, I haven't read the law, so I don't know, if it says it's voluntary or whatever. I mean, because it's like they made the Pledge of Allegiance voluntary in a lot of places. And okay, you don't want to do it, sit there and be an ass. All right. But, it should be the way I see it. And again, like I said, I don't just check all the boxes for, left or right. I don't check any boxes for left. But, if you don't want to participate in something, don't participate. But don't make it that because you don't want to participate, I can't participate. And that's kind of how I stand on a lot of issues. If you don't like guns, don't buy one. But because you don't like guns doesn't mean I can't buy one. Okay. Some issues, okay, abortion's a bit, different. I don't give a rat's ass. Okay. But, it's kind of like the law in Washington today. If you saw, Washington State banned semi-automatic rifles. Oh, you can't. In fact, as soon as Jay Inslee signs it, which will be this evening, you can no longer buy AR-15s, AK-47s, anything like that. Okay. And the media was coming out going, yeah, see, and we've got to get rid of these things because all these things do is kill kids. And I'm like, well, really? I said, so does abortion, but you seem to really love that. What's the difference? You use their logic against them. And blah, 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 but that's different. How? How's it different? The end result is there's a dead kid. It doesn't work both ways. To Farm Ranch Homestead, I like that. If government is the answer, it was a stupid question. Best line of the night. I like that. Mimi, I believed right away that Trump would win last election that I ever worked. There you go. Repeal the government. Good idea. Okay, Ehide 111. 2 weeks into planting last year's potatoes and nothing yet. Do I need to wait longer? Yeah. I mean, and again, it depends on how deep you planted them. I mean, if you put them 6 inches deep and you just have little eyes on it, it's going to take them a little bit to break soil. But what you'll see originally are some dark green leaves. But yeah, I'd still wait a little bit. Don't panic yet. And again, it depends on the weather. I put mine in last week. I haven't seen anything yet, but it's been cool. We got down to 34, 35 degrees at night. Potatoes want a little bit warmer than that to wake up. Scott Nesbitt, I Jake Bro saying, okay, I don't know what the hell that means, saying that they let Tucker go because he was on the Russian side with the war. If he was, whoever Jake Bro is, Jake Bro's smoking crack with Hunter. That has nothing to do with it. If it's anything to do with the news, it's because of the J6 tapes. So, Debbie Yvonne watched the vid on electroculture for the garden. Sent in chat link, Mr. Watch the vid on electroculture for garden. Okay, I haven't put one up, so I don't know who you're talking about. Sent in chat the link, Mr. P and others. Very informative on agricultural garden at home. Like I said, I don't know enough about it I watched Market Self-Sufficient Me try it one way. Mind you, he did it differently. And his tomatoes actually were worse. Now, Danny over at Deep South Homestead showed a different way of doing it, and he says it's very productive. I I've never tried it either way. Okay. I mean, with the copper wire or whatever would be. I haven't done it. Okay. I've got metal cages out there on T-posts and stuff like that, made out of concrete wire. I'm probably getting some. I don't know. I mean, I've never done it, so I can't say it works, it doesn't work, or whatever. I'm kind of watching to see what Danny's results are, or whatever. I may try it, but I get such prolific amounts of tomatoes anyway. I mean, Mrs. P and I are planting less tomato plants this year because we got so many tomatoes last year. They were rotting. We couldn't eat them all. Okay. Couldn't can them all, couldn't eat them all. We couldn't do, I mean, I've still got canned tomatoes, spaghetti sauce, God knows how much salsa, all the chili I made, tomato soup. I mean, anything and everything I could do to tomatoes other than take them out and use them for target practice we were doing last year. Wyoming Yeti is in here. Notice I have my hat. Thank you. I did receive it. In the books. Okay. And I'm assuming our good old director of security is probably here too, if you are as well. All right. Gary Wayne, revolution is what we're about down to. Yeah, I am not going to, like I've said for a year, all it's going to take is that one quote unquote shot heard around the world and everything goes nuts. Okay. How, what the triggering event is, I don't know. But when it happens, you better be ready for everything to go hell bent for leather by the end of the day. Toy Painter 1. Do I honestly think that voting matters anymore? Let's put it this way. I know you guys ask me this every time I bring it up. Okay. There's a huge problem with our voting system. No question. Okay. It's corrupt as all get out. I mean, the fact that people are against voter ID makes absolutely no logical sense to me whatsoever. And I could repeat the talking points you guys have heard a million times. You gotta have an ID to check out a library book. Why don't you, I mean, anything else? Okay. I get that. The only thing is, the only other option is bloodshed. And I'm not an idiot. I don't want bloodshed. Okay. If it comes to it, I will participate. But it's not something I'm going, please let me go do this. No, I don't. Okay. Because remember this, it's not just going to be you going, it's not like the range where you're shooting at targets. These targets shoot back. Okay. And unless you want to learn how to do the jitterbug, I don't feel like dancing around trying to avoid bullets coming at me. So the only option we have is fixing the voting system that doesn't kill people. Von Mousetrap, what great pandemic will we have that will allow all kinds of mail-in voting again? I'm cringing at the thought. Oh, trust me, they're going to figure out something. You don't think that this polio thing in Sudan could be the beginning? I mean, how many have we heard about? Oh, we have Ebola, and we have smallpox, and we have polio. I mean, they're just trying, which one's going to scare the public the most? That's the one we'll use. These are all trial balloons, guys. This is all to see how people eat it up. Is everybody going into calling up their doctors today going, is my polio shot up to date? Yeah, don't worry. You only have to get one, and you're like, oh, okay, then that's not a big deal. Okay. And people won't worry. And then they'll come up with something. Wait till we have COVID-23. That'll be just in time for Joe to stay in the basement. Mark Jones, it goes to the House if no one gets a majority of the electoral votes. Again, but if we have multiple parties, if you have, you're not going to have multiple parties for president, but just two parties for Congress. So if it goes to the House, agreed, it does, but how's that going to split? So, there's things that have to be worked out. It's not like, we're just going, oh, this is easy, poof, do this. So, but that still would be my hope, is that we get, it also might bring more competent people to the mix too. It might bring more incompetent as well. I don't know, Gee, at that point, you could get Gavin Newsom and, Michelle Obama on the ticket at the same time, but, you know, just burn your house down at that point. Aristocat, we need a president that can think on his feet. It scares me. Hell, we need a president that can stay on his feet. How many times has Joe fallen down the stairs? You know, uh, yeah, I 100% agree with you. Judy Booher, need a Trump party, watch the others fall. Okay. You know, but what happens? Let's hypothetically say Trump wins in 2024. What happens in 2028? Trump can't run anymore. He's done. Okay. So do we have the other side where Trump now wants to be the kingmaker and says, we'll let you be president, but I'm still going to call the shots, i.e., Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Okay. We don't want that either. Okay. So I don't want a party after one person. I want a party after ideals, not after, I don't want a dictatorship, a tyrannical government, a cult of personality. A Cushnet prepper. Didn't Ross Perot have death threats against his family? I don't remember. Sorry, my memory's not that good for 30 years ago. Yeah, there you go. Linda Bob. Joe's only alive because God doesn't want him. Oh, hell, he ain't going to heaven anyway. We know that. I mean, Joe's been breaking commandments for 50 years in Washington. Paula McGuire, question, any tips for growing fig trees? Yes, I will give you one. Be patient, okay? All our fruit trees are fully leafed out. Our figs, nothing. And it's the same as last year. Mrs. P said, I don't think my figs made it through the cold. And I remember last year that the figs didn't leaf out until probably June somewhere. But you got to remember, where are figs from? Figs are from the Middle East, very warm climate, India or anything like that. The whole stands, okay? You've got a very warm climate. So figs aren't going, hey, it's 35 degrees out. Let's start making leaves. No, they're going, okay, it's 70 at night. That's when I'm going to start making leaves. Biggest tip I can give you for growing fig trees, be patient. They'll get there. And if you got a very cold climate in the winter, at least the first year, cover them and wrap them in straw and plastic or put a trash can over them until they get a good root system. And there's got to be animals out in my yard again because my security light's been going off like crazy here lately. When I can see that one, not that one. Wyoming Yeti, keep an eye on your local, county, and state administrators and politicians. Absolutely, guys. The thing is this, and she's spot on correct with this. Your local politicians affect your life a lot more than your national politicians do. Okay. They're the ones who are figuring out what the zoning laws are, what the speed limit's going to be on a certain street, how many cops are going to be, on patrol on a Friday night. They are a lot closer to what's going to affect you rather than these guys trying to figure out what's going on in Ukraine, okay? I mean, unless you've got family in Russia or family in Ukraine, it probably doesn't affect you, or you get family in the military. It probably doesn't affect you directly. But what your city mayor says is going to be closing time for retail stores on Sunday, and blue laws, that affects you directly. So being knowledgeable, if not involved in the local scene, is more important than being knowledgeable on the federal level. Aristocat, no debates should make up everyone's mind. Oh, no, okay, I get you. I'm trying to read how. No debates should make up everyone's mind regardless of party. Yeah, I mean, no debates tells you exactly that they're afraid of Joe putting his foot in his mouth. That Joe can't debate. Why the hell do you want a president that can't debate? He sits down with presidents and leaders of other countries. You want him to be able to state our position? unless there's a teleprompter. Joe can shake hands and have ice cream with them. That's great. But most of the leaders in the rest of the world don't need diapers changed 4 times a day like Joe does. Uh, Rebecca Stanley, pinball. Would it be worth it to buy a set of 5 silver Mercury dimes for $9.95, 90% silver? Okay, so you were talking about 50 cents, which would be about a little better than a third of an ounce of silver. Yeah, it's a fair price. Silver's 25 and change right now. So you're talking about, I mean, it's maybe a hair expensive, but it's close to a fair rate for what you're getting premiums on silver right now. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go, oh my God, that's a great deal. And I wouldn't go, oh my God, you're getting screwed. Uh, it's teeny tiny bit expensive, but I wouldn't turn it down. Matt Marshall, who has the better rate for silver for someone who's on a fixed income, and who do you recommend? Like I said, you got to check the different ones. The ones that you can look at: SD Bullion, JM Bullion, BGASC are the buy gold and silver coins. Are the 3 that I buy from most often. Lately, it's been from BGASC because they actually have the inventory. I'm not a big fan of sending my money in. They're going, oh, shipping date is 3 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now when we get it in. No, you have the inventory now of what I want to buy, and that way I know it's coming. Don't give me a promise. I got to know. I got promissory notes that I'm trading you for this. I want the actual physical. If you don't have them, if you don't own it, you can't sell it. This is the way I look at it. Flint McRock, I really like SD Bullion for silver. They're awesome. Yeah, the problem that SD's been having lately is inventory. And they were having for a while there was a $500 minimum order, then they kicked it down to 250 because they were just having a problem fulfilling orders. That's it. So, Acushnet Prepper, do you know what percentage of silverware that you can purchase at estate sales? Silver's going to, I would not advise buying silverware or whatever. I mean, if you're going to use it for your dinners, that's fine. But if you're trying to buy it for silver content, I would not advise it, for the simple reason is, unless you know how to smelt it down into 1 ounce coins and can do everything like that, nobody's going, okay, I've got 5 loaves of bread and 2 cans of beans. I'll take 1 ounce of silver or 1 fork for it. Okay. Is it silver plated? What are the other metals? And yeah, unless you have the contacts that can separate the silver from the other metals and put it into coins, and then even then, unless they're going to put it into something that is very professionally done, people are going to look at that and go, it's a lump of metal. I don't know if it's aluminum or not, because most people are not going to have test kits in an SHTF situation. Autumn West, an eBay commercial just came up. Where? I don't get it. Okay. Wyoming Yeti, Tractor Supply just threw an ad. Are they now putting ads in the middle of the live streams? That's a new one. Arizona Prepper Jules, when am I going to show you the garden? Well, right now, the only thing in it is peas, onions, cabbages, and garlic, and radishes. So my potatoes and my beets haven't come up. So right now, there's not a whole lot to see but dirt. A few plants here and there, but most of the gardens are still empty. Got to get them planted first. This is dirt. I'm a dirt farmer. Okay, something's going on. Chivo06194. Since when do they do ads on live? Okay, you're the third one. Bunch of you guys saying commercial here. Okay. Don't ask me. Don't know. It's a new one on me. Okay, another one. Just a bunch of you guys are saying ads. Okay. I don't know, guys. That one I can't answer. All right, trying to find where we were because it shot to the bottom here. Okay. Hey, Rip, I haven't seen you in months. How about going to no parties and voting for the best person for the job? And we talked about that earlier. The problem is that you need somebody to run a campaign, and that's where the parties come into play because you need experienced people, and you're going to want experienced people that have the same thinking as you do. I just like to see more parties, because there are more than, you know, left and right. There's a whole lot of stuff in the center, further left and further right. Wendy Cosmerl, I have money in U.S. Bank. Do I need to move it? I would. Considering what I told you guys yesterday, U.S. Bank just got downgraded. Had what, 682 or $684 billion worth of assets was removed from the bank in the first quarter. You need to be removing yours too. We need a new platform. YouTube really sucks anymore. We need a new good platform. That's it. I agree with some of the craziness, and you don't see half the craziness that content creators do with YouTube screw ups. But like I said, Rumble is like comparing fiber optic internet and AOL. Rumble is still using 1990s technology, apparently. The platform there is a pain in the ass for content creators. So I don't, if something happens to YouTube, I don't know where I go. It may be the end of me on social media. I don't know. We'll see. For the time being, I'm not going anywhere. Kim Edmondson guaranteed the potato would not pass a Medicare wellness visit. He would be mandatory nursing home care. Yeah, the Trump's Surgeon General keeps saying that they need a cognitive test on Joe. Joe, of course, won't take one. Let's see. Bear Creek Girl, I've been stocking up on tobacco and alcohol. Alcohol, I could see. Tobacco goes stale after about 6 months. So just, you're spending a lot of money to be stocking up on cigarettes for something that nobody's going to want. Rip Girl again, if I had $100,000 to convert to gold and silver, where would I go to get physical gold and silver? At that point, I would be having a phone conversation with the bullion dealers. If you had that much to go in and buy, I want some serious breaks on the premiums. I'm not paying retail premiums at that point. If you got local coin shop or whatever, I'd ask them specifically who they deal with, and if you had a large purchase, what kind of deal they'd make for you. Because if you're buying that kind of volume, you're going to deplete their inventory. And they better not go, well, yeah, we're going to charge you 18% premiums or anything like that. No, I better, if I'm buying that, I better be paying like 5% premium. Okay, a bunch of you guys are talking about ads. Some are saying they did, some are saying they didn't. I don't know, guys. Goose Grouse, what's going to happen with the borders when and you cut off? So I don't know what's there. Okay, tobacco keeps in a refrigerator, great barter item. Yes, it does, but it still doesn't keep for more than about 6 months. Trust me, I smoked for 30 years, I know. Let's see. I believe a smoker in need of a cigarette would definitely smoke stale tobacco. That's possible. Okay. Okay, Spectre. That's my hope, and I hopefully Tag and B will get there eventually. That do it on freesteading. They just need to do videos. That maybe they get there, but you got to remember, Tag's paying for that entire site out of his pocket. So, the first thing they're going to have to do is come up with advertisers and stuff, because, the servers and everything like that, that's all out of his pocket. So there's got to be, and you guys know me, I'm not one that's going to go, okay, for $3 a month, guys, that's only 10 cents a day or whatever you can. That's why I'm not on Patreon. Okay. I don't believe in charging you guys for this. So, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. That's it. I can deal with, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, you guys all know that. But all right, 'tis 9:00, 'tis Tuesday night. Thank you all for another fun-filled evening. We'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.